In this lesson, we'll be working on the project file 10A. The deeper we get into effects, the deeper we get into the issue of rendering. When you play back a straight cut, your system reads frames already written to your disk. But when you add effects, new frames have to be created. Many of them can be played back in real time. But sooner or later, it becomes more than the system can handle. A red render status bar hangs over the transition. Final Cut is telling you it's unable to play back the effect in real time. Just select the transition, hit Command R for render selection, and now I can play it back. No other work can happen during a render, and every time you change an effect parameter, the old render is thrown out, and the red bar reappears, demanding another render. Final Cut gives you a number of tools to control what, when, and how you render. Go to the RT pop-up menu in the timeline. RT stands for real-time playback, and these settings determine what gets played back without a render and at what quality. With Safe RT, Final Cut ensures your effects play at maximum picture quality and full frame rate, which means more red bars, more rendering, and more waiting. Unlimited RT will play back in real time without rendering, but at reduced picture quality and/or frame rate. It's a trade-off. Select Unlimited RT now. The red bars become orange, and you can play back effects in real time at preview quality. Unlimited RT is only available with supported codecs and depends on the amount of RAM and processor speed of your system. To see which real-time codecs are supported by your system, go to System Settings, Effect Handling. And note, real-time playback won't work with non-standard frame sizes. If you click on the RT pop-up and Unlimited is not available, you may need to change your sequence settings. In the Effects tab, go to the Video Transitions bin and open the Slide bin. On my system, all of these transitions appear in bold, meaning they can be applied and played back without a render. But if I switch RT from Unlimited back to Safe, all but two lose their boldness, meaning they will have to render before playback. When you click back to Unlimited, effects will play back according to the video quality and frame rate settings here. The best selection is generally dynamic. Final Cut will play back at full quality when it can, and less so when the processor can't keep up. Select Play Based Layer only if, for example, you want to work on the underlying picture edit without rendering effects like lower thirds. And Record to Tape should always be set to full quality. Earlier, we used Command R on a transition with a red render status bar to render it at full quality. But if we try it on the orange Unlimited RT transition, it doesn't work. To see why, go to Sequence, Render Selection. The command only renders the status colors checked in the submenu. In the Render All submenu, which uses the shortcut Option R, you'll find many more items checked by default. But this command renders the entire sequence. If you prefer to render selectively to save time, go back to Render Selection and check pretty much everything. You can control what you want to render by clicking it to select, or by marking Sequence In and Out points. Click the background to make sure nothing else is selected, and hit Command R. It's really the best of both worlds, because when nothing is selected, Command R will render the entire sequence. The third render option in the Sequence menu is Render Only, allowing you to render only the instances of the checked render status colors throughout your sequence. Click back to Safe RT for a moment. The red bars return over our unrendered effects. Another way to avoid rendering is to use the Play Every Frame command. Just park on the beginning of an unrendered effect and hit Option P. It may not play back in real time, but as its name declares, you get to see every frame. Or take it one step further. Mark a sequence in and out around your unrendered effect and hit Option 8. The Quick View tab opens in the Toolbench window, and you can play back the selection, even if you're still adjusting parameters. With complex effects, it will start out slow, but create a RAM preview of cached frames until it's real time. Render files eat up a lot of disk space, so when you've output your file, go to Tools, Render Manager. Here, you can locate the project you want to purge, check render files in the Remove column, and hit OK. Lastly, Final Cut uses idle time to render your open sequences. Go to User Preferences and look in the General tab. Under Auto Render, you can toggle the feature on and off. Tell it which sequences to render, and change how long it waits before kicking in. Now that we know what it takes to play back your effects, we'll start applying some in the next lesson.